Hello, good evening. Welcome to our live Q&A session for this year's transition. I'm Paul Rosten-Smart. I'm the transition coordinator and the SENCO at the Polesworth School. And I'm not sure what view you have, but underneath me at the moment is Brad Hayward. If you'd like to introduce yourself, Brad.
Hi, I'm Mr. Hayward, and I'm going to be the new head of Year 7 when they come up. So nice to meet you all, everyone here.
So the purpose of tonight really is to see if you've got any questions that you'd like to ask. So if you do have any questions, just pop it in the chat, and we will stay around for as long as people have questions. So we are scheduled to finish at 7, or actually it might just be as long as my battery lasts on my computer. So hopefully that won't go soon. Just to explain a little bit about some of the stuff that we've already done. So as those of you that have got children coming in September will know, we had our induction day last Monday, which by all accounts was a hit. We were very good. We were very pleased with behaviour and with how everybody was, and with just the enthusiasm level seemed really, really high that day, which was really nice to see. We also had a parents' evening last week for those of you that were able to come to that. And then obviously we've got tonight, which is, like I said, an opportunity for you to ask any questions. Hello, and we see the comments as well. So I'll say hello, Rosalind. We shall wave. So yeah, if anybody's got any questions, please pop it in the chat, and we will answer your questions for you. I will obviously try my best to fill in between as well. Fortunately, I quite like talking, so that shouldn't be too much problem. So few reminders really. So on next Wednesday, even though we break up on Thursday, next Wednesday, that's the 26th of July, there will be a uniform sale taking place in the hall at school. That's an opportunity that starts from 12 o'clock till 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and that is our uniform suppliers will be here that day with loads and loads of uniform for you to be able to try on, and also for you to purchase there and then. I would always recommend coming to the uniform sale because it's just a really easy way to do it, and you get to try on the uniform. Recommendation from me here would be always buy a couple of sizes too big, because they will grow. So if anybody's got any questions about uniform, feel free to ask any questions about uniform. If Mr. Hayward has anything you'd like to ask about uniform, or answer about uniform, or if anything you'd like to add, Mr. Hayward.
No, to be fair, you've kind of summarised that very well. But just obviously a note in September, if there are any uniform issues, then please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. We can kind of work together to help you and support if needs be. But also really that we will be in touch if there are issues with uniforms and persistent issues with uniforms from September. So just be mindful of that.
Yes. And yes, you are able to pay by card at the uniform sale. At least you were last year, so I will assume that you are again this year as well. But yes, as far as I'm aware, you will be able to pay by card. And the stuff that we sell in the uniform sale, that's your blazer, your tie, parts of the PE kit, all the other bits of the uniform you can pick up from any normal shop. I think a lot of people get from like Asda or from Sainsbury's, just the clothing sections in those. I wouldn't go overboard on. There's no point in spending a lot of money on white shirts when you can get them pretty much from anywhere. I suppose other things to talk about would be, hang on, who is the assistant head of year? We're still waiting to appoint that, aren't we, Mr. Hayward?
Yes.
At the minute.
Yeah. For now, you've just got me, and Mr. Rosten will be there at the start to help as well, kind of answer any questions or anything in the first couple of weeks. But when that information becomes available, we'll make sure you're aware of that.
Yeah. So my role as transition, I kind of will be there to support Mr. Hayward for the first half term or so, and then that's when I start working with the with the year sixes again. So yeah, so it's just like it's a rolling process in terms of transition. But we are also offering, and this will be towards the end of the first half term, there will be another parents' evening, but it will be a parent tutor evening, and that will be an opportunity for you as parents to have a meeting with their form tutor. Who, for those of you that aren't sure, the form tutor is the letter, the group on your letter, which has got 3 letters by it. So it might be 7 SND or 7 BUR. That's their form tutor. Form tutors will stay the same throughout their time at the Polesworth School, as will their tutor group.
Sorry, can I just add there? In terms of tutors, obviously last week with some of our tutor sessions, the tutors gave out some of their email addresses, but obviously if you weren't able to attend then, so what I'm going to get the tutors to do is on the first day they meet the year 6s, year 7s again, is to give out their email address. So you've got that, because they're going to be your first port of call. So they're going to be the first person that you contact with any issues with your child or any information you want to provide. They're your first ports of means, and then they'll liaise with everybody else in school.
Yeah, no, I agree, and also we really value relationships, and if there's something that you feel that we need to know, get in contact with the form tutor as the first port of call. As Mr. Hayward just said, it's really important that obviously we can't do anything if we don't know about it. So if there is an issue, if they're worried about something that's happened in a lesson, if they've had a fallout with their friends, or anything at all, please do contact us, because it makes it a lot easier for us to then be able to help you.
And also any issues with subjects as well. Class teachers will always be available for a phone call or an email as well. So if it's particular something that's concerning in English or maths or drama or music, whatever, get in touch with the teacher, and then they can kind of get back to you and have a conversation there as well.
Yeah, and like I said, it's just really important that we just keep in contact with each other. And I think I also said, and for those of you that weren't able to come last week, one of the things that I talked about as well is one of the big differences between primary and secondary is just access, really. So I know that in primary schools, so I've just seen Laura's question there. What should the children bring on the first day? I will talk about the first day arrangements in a minute. That's a very good question, though. Just in terms of access, if you do need to make an appointment at school, or if you want to get hold of somebody, I know in primary school it's a lot easier. You can come into reception, and there's a pretty good chance you'll actually get to see the teachers. It's quite different in secondary school. There's a lot more staff, and availability isn't always possible. So if you do need an appointment with a teacher or anything, the best bet is to get in touch and make an appointment, and reception will help you out with that. I have a question from Laura about the first day, and it says, what should the children bring on the first day? Just lunch and pens or PE kit, art books, etc. as well. So I wouldn't worry too much on the first day about a PE kit. On the first day in September, we will be doing, that's very clever. Look, there's a banner's just appeared at the bottom of the screen. It's very clever. I have no idea how this works. I'm just here. So on the first day, which will be Tuesday, the 5th of September, we are treating that as a second induction day. The only other year groups that will be in school that day will be years 12 and years 13. And the day will be a full school day, but they won't necessarily be having any lessons. So they'll be spending a bit of time in the morning with their form tutor. We will be doing a PE induction, which won't involve necessarily doing PE, but it will be meeting with the PE teachers to explain how PE works. I would recommend bringing a pencil case with you. There'll be some team building. There'll be a team building session. There's a growth mindset session. There's a whole array of activities that are being organized for that day. You can bring, I would bring a pencil case and a bottle of water. They can bring lunch with them, but they will also be able to buy lunch at school. I was amazed actually last week on induction day how I think it's the first time in about, I don't know, I've been doing this job a really long time, and that's the first time I've seen that many people go for a hot lunch at school, which was lovely to see. And no one moaned about the queue either, but the queue was really long. And but you can bring a packed lunch on that first day, or they can get their dinners in the canteen. What I can tell you is that towards the end of the summer holiday, we will send you out all the information about parent pay. A lot of you will already be used to parent pay because it's what you have in the primary schools. If not, don't worry, it's really straightforward. You set up your account, and then you load up the account with money, and then your children go spend that money. What we really like about parent pay is it removes any issues. It means that you know exactly what your children are having because you can spy on them. You can check and see what they're doing. If they come home and say, well, I just don't understand, I've got no money on my account, and then you look at their account and go, well, that's probably because you had this and this all in the same day. So you can set a limit on parent pay as well about how much you want to spend, or you want them to spend in a day. If you're free school meals, that goes straight onto your parent pay account as well. So there's lots of it's a really, really good system, and you will get your information about that over the summer holiday. Mr. Hayward, would you like to answer the question about after school activities? I know you're doing some work on that.
Yes, so we've had a question that says, can I ask what after school activities there are, the cost, and if you have to book? Now, you don't have to book the extracurricular activities, and there's a range of activities that we provide. I'm still in the process of people kind of telling me new clubs that are potentially coming up next year, but I know the PE department offer a range of different things: badminton, dodgeball, netball, football. There's football teams, rugby. We have drama clubs, so there'll be a drama club ready for people who like performing arts. We have music lessons available in a music club. We call it the School of Rock. I know Ms. Glover talked about this to some of the students last week on the Monday. I believe there's an art club. There'll be a history club as well, and there's also, I believe, there's going to be introducing a coding club for IT next year as well. So lots of different things. Maths might put on some activities. I do know that technology like to kind of do scattered kind of events throughout the year to do with cooking and design. I think we had a Warhammer club this year as well. So it really just depends on the staff, but lots of different things to do, lots of different activities. So you don't have to book, and the information will be given about the evenings to the tutors to give to the students, and they'll also be promoted on our website, etc. as well.
And I think just in terms of settling in and transition in general, it's really, really key. Well, it's really, really good to encourage your kids to join in as many activities as they possibly can. Not only do they get to meet more people, they get to meet more like-minded people. It's just a really good way to settle in because you get to meet people. So I know that, for example, excuse me for embarrassing you here, Mr. Hayward. Mr. Hayward is a former pupil, and Mr. Hayward made a lot of friends by doing the school play and doing lots of drama stuff. And I think, I'll let you finish that, Mr. Hayward. I'm speaking.
Yeah, absolutely, just dropping me in there. But ultimately, I mean, doing the school play, doing the extracurricular activities, it's a great opportunity to make friends and also to share interests. So they've also got that same interest as well. And it means that they're pushing themselves out a bit of their comfort zone, and they can talk to other people in the year group because they're going to be in the same teaching group and then their tutor group. So it's a fantastic opportunity to make more friends, not only in school, but also potentially later on in life as well. So that they can become long life friends, as from experience as well.
Yeah, and it's really, school is really what you make of it, and there are lots and lots of opportunities. We have kids in year 7 at the moment that are doing clubs but 3 or 4 nights a week, and that might be in addition to anything they're doing outside of school as well. Just seeing that there's been another couple of questions. So we've got one from Marie Clark about music lessons. Yeah. So music lessons, that you will get more information about that in September. Mrs. Glover, who's our head of music, she organises all of our music lessons. So they'll be taught music. They have 2 lessons of music over over a 2-week period. But they also, if they are doing music lessons at the moment, they can carry on with them. I know that at the moment we've got a drum teacher that comes in once a week. We've got a guitar teacher. We have a keyboard teacher. So there's lots of different opportunities to carry on with anything that they've started. But information will come out about that from Mrs. Glover in September. If I was looking at the question about parent pay, I don't know what the I think it's a separate account that you have to that you have to set up. When you get the information, I think it's pretty instant actually. Once you sign up, you've signed up. And then we've got one here from Annabelle about, is it possible to get an example timetable of what their day will look like? Yes, we can provide you with something that looks like that. Essentially, and also I find this every year because there's a lot of codes on their timetable which don't always make sense. So it might be that I send something out towards the end of summer, which gives you an example of a timetable, but also tells you what the abbreviations mean. So there'll be things like TY on your timetable, and that stands for technology. But you wouldn't get that just by looking at TY. So yes, I can absolutely sort that out for you.
It's also interesting to know, obviously, because next year the school day will finish at 3 o'clock. So expectation is that students arrive on site and are at their lessons by 8:25, the preparation time before 8:30, and then the lessons first period starts at 8:30, and their hour lessons. And in between those hours, there are 5-minute transition times, so they've got 5 minutes to get from one lesson to the next. And they may have heard this the other day. I was kind of demonstrating to the year sixes that we play music around the site. So when the music's playing, that's time for them to walk around. That signals that transition time. And then obviously when that music stops, then they should be at their next lesson ready to learn.
Absolutely. So like we said, if you've got any questions at all, we've covered uniform sale. We've talked about the first day back. Yeah. I mean, I can fill, but if you've got any questions, please do ask. We are very much looking forward to all of your children starting with us in September. It is a big change, and we've talked about this. We have something from Mr. White. That's a very good question. Is there a list of everything that we need to provide or buy? So if you go onto the school website, and if I knew how to share this with you at the minute, I would, but I don't know how to do that, so I'm not going to do it. But if you were to go onto the school website, on the homepage of the school website, there, and if you scroll down a little bit and you go down to the bottom, there is a link to Year 6 to 7 transition. It's flashing and it's green. And if you go on to that, you'll find yourself on the transition page of the website, and one of the tabs on that page is our handbook. The handbook is updated every year. The handbook will have in it a list of equipment that you need to get. So in particular, other than your uniform and your PE kit, other things that you do need to think about getting is some aprons for technology.
Yeah, sorry. I did get a notice from Miss Miller-Jones to say the particular aprons that are required for are craft aprons. She did mention to me that they don't really use normal aprons and craft aprons. There is a link on the uniform site on the website as well that links to that too, and their particular branding. But a craft apron is what they're expecting.
And they do need to get 2 as well because they do different texts. They're different for different subjects. It'll also give you, in the handbook, it will also give you what other equipment you need, like a calculator for maths. I can see someone has asked about, ring binder. Don't worry about ring binders or folders. We will provide all exercise books. We don't really use ring binders or folders. I get where you're going with that question, because I remember when I was at school, back in the dark ages, we did use a lot of folders, but no, we have kind of moved away from that. You'll get your new details, your details for parent pay. That will come towards the end of summer, like I said earlier. Will there be lots of staff and students around to help Year 7? Absolutely. I always say, it's always my recommendation that you don't really go for your brothers or sisters to ask you your directions, because they might send you in the wrong direction. But everybody else is really helpful. There's lots of staff and lots of people. On that first day in September, they will be, again, they'll be escorted to most places. What was I going to say? In Year 7, particularly in the first term or so as well, they are taught in the same group all the time. So they kind of learn their way around by following each other. I guarantee to you, like I said, I've done this job many, many years, and most people within a couple of weeks know their way around. In fact, loads of kids said to me after induction day that they already felt that they knew their way around the school. I think it's just big, and that's the biggest change for a lot of them to get used to. It's big, but it's not that complicated once they get used to it. And again, on the transition page on the website, you will see that there is a map as well. It's a 3D map, and for those that are really struggling, I've also made a photo book of the different buildings, which if any parents want that, just get in touch and I will send you a copy of that. Looking at the PE shorts, you can just get plain black PE shorts. That's absolutely fine. You can buy logoed ones as well, but you can just get plain ones. I don't think we sell the aprons at the uniform sale, but I can check. But they're not logoed, so I think you can get them anywhere. But if there's a link on the website to get there. So then the next question is, the children have to have the logo PE top. They have to get the logo top, but not the socks. You don't worry too much about the socks. You can get just knee-length socks. This is great. Thank you for all these questions, by the way. May I ask, does the school day finish at 2:40? It will finish at 3 o'clock from September. We get a nice extra 20 minutes in the day. And I can see there, do the girls need a rugby top? I believe so. I might need to check on that one, but I think they do. And for someone that's missed induction day, can she come and visit before the end of term during the holidays? No, I wouldn't say during the holidays, because there won't be anybody here. Well, there might be some staff here. But if you wanted to come during the uniform sale, I will be in school all day next Wednesday. And if you wanted to come in during the uniform sale, then I could definitely show you around if you would like that. That's not a problem at all. And again, like I said, if you've got any questions, I am slightly concerned that I don't actually have a charger for my laptop at the moment. I'm down to 18%. So apologies if I suddenly disappear. My charger is in another building. So it might all be on you, Mr. Hayward, in about 15 minutes.
No pressure.
It's fine. I think, I mean, overall, I think that coming to secondary school, like I've said this loads of times to parents as well, but it is hard and it is different and it takes a bit of getting used to. And for a lot of people, it's not so much. Well, thank you very much, Sammy, by the way. That's very kind of you to say that. We do believe very firmly in communication, and I think it's really, really key. And being accessible. And we appreciate the fact that moving to secondary school can be a little bit challenging. And it's particularly, I mean, I said this at the parents even last week, for most kids, they just get on with it. But there will be some children that find it more challenging, and there'll be some parents that also find it quite challenging because it is such a big change. And it's moving from it's moving from pretty much knowing everything about your child and everything that they're doing and who all their friends are to not really knowing as much anymore. And as they get older and become more independent, you kind of learn, they kind of pull away a little bit from their families. That's what happens really in secondary school.
Yeah.
That process is starting now.
I also, even though that I suppose it's always trying to keep that communication open with your children about what goes on day to day, asking them questions about their day, how they're getting on, and if it's a regular conversation, it's something they're used to. Sometimes they always go, "Yeah, it was okay," but then sometimes you can be like, "Are you sure?" Just kind of double check, because obviously sometimes their immediate answer is yes or no, and that's it. But it's always worth kind of just having that regular conversation with them and checking in to see if everything's okay at school as well.
Yeah, and I would enjoy it whilst you can have those conversations, because in a couple of years' time, they'll probably just go straight up to their room and you won't see them until the following morning. They might text that they want dinner or something. So what we got, I've got another question. We may need to use a bus. Is it easy for the children to find the bus stops? So all the buses, the school buses and a couple of the service buses, they will stop at the bus stop just directly outside school. There is a bus bay outside school. It's really easy to find. Every day there are at least 2, sometimes 3 members of leaders within the school that do a bus duty, and they will direct people to get onto the right buses. So that's I would say, I mean, when I do bus duty, usually within 15 minutes of the end of school, everyone's gone. Like all the buses have gone, and they've all made it successfully to the right bus and got home. Yes, they can try on uniform at the uniform sale. Unfortunately, it won't run past 4 o'clock. That is out of our control. That is the uniform suppliers that have set that time, so apologies. The really good question about medication. So over the summer holiday, you will also get the medical forms sent to you. What I would recommend, so part of my job as SENCO as well, is I look after a lot of the medical list and the medication side of things as well. And what we tend to do is, kids with asthma, is that we would recommend that we had a spare inhaler at school, and also that they would carry an inhaler with them. All the primary schools have informed me of whether people have got issues or not, and this is something that I'm working on at the moment. Where we tend to store medications is the area of school known as Student Services, which is in Nethersole building. Kids work it out really quickly where it is, and if any additional medication is needed, or if there is a problem, then obviously we will contact you straight away and alert you of any issues. And for example, if you needed to come and pick them up, then obviously we would get in touch with you. So yeah, we would expect them to carry an inhaler on them, and also that we have a spare one as well. And I realize that when I stop talking, it just goes quiet. So, like I said, if you've got any questions at all, please stick them in the box. Oh, okay, got another question. Thank you, Laura. Where do the kids go on the first day? They go straight to the hall on the first day. So yeah, we're not expecting them to find their own way to their tutor room. They will go to the hall, there'll be an assembly, and they'll be picked up by their form tutors. And what will be lovely on that first day as well is that they actually because not all of our tutors were able to come in for induction day, because some of our tutors are new to the school. Yeah. We like it when you've got form tutors that are also new to the school for year 7, because it's like they're all on the same journey, really, which I think is a really nice way of doing it.
But if at any point your children feel like they are lost, or there'll be many members of staff around, they can just ask them and we can guide them on their way. There's no kind of, the first week or so we're very lenient, aren't we, with kind of the punctuality, and because it takes a couple of weeks to get used to. So there'll always be someone for them to talk to.
Thank you, Ros. That's good. There is a shop in Tamworth that stocks the Polesworth uniform if they do miss it. And that's great. That's great to know that as well. I did forget about that actually, but yeah, there is a shop in Tamworth, and I think if you go onto the website and you click on the uniform page, you will be able to find a link to that shop as well. So yes, if you aren't able to come for the uniform sale, then please do go there as well. You can also order online as well, but I get that people want to try it on because you don't know what the sizes are going to be like, and there's a very wide range of sizes for the uniform, because some of our children are very small and some of our children are quite tall already, even by the time they get into year 7, and in year 11 as well.
We've got a couple of people saying SK school uniform, so thank you for putting that in the chat.
Yes, thank you for that. And also, just make sure when you do buy the uniform, make sure you know what house your child is in, so that they get the right house colour tie. So just to go through that, Arden is green, Kenilworth is blue, Stratford is yellow, and Warwick is red. It will say on your welcome letter, it will say what house they're in, and the tutor group that they're in is organised in a house as well. So everybody that's in 7BUR, they're all in Kenilworth. So that's just that's how we keep the house identity going, is through the tutor groups, and hopefully we'll be able to start doing some more house competitions as well moving forward. In fact, do you have? So I'm going to put you on the spot again, Mr. Hayward. Have you got a whole schedule of competitions planned for year 7 next year?
In the works. I do like to bring out the competitive side of students, a friendly competition as well. But no, there are going to be times where we will have those sorts of inter-year group competitions. A lot of the time, the PE department does host some things as well, like they'll have inter-year group competitions, and then they're kind of like, we have sports day as well every year. So that's always a nice chance for them to get together as well. Absolutely.
So I've just seen about the planned school trips for next year. So the planned school trips, we're still kind of on a bit of a catch up after COVID, but I know that year 7 last week went to Cadbury's World. I think, yes, there will be trips. There's theatre trips throughout the year. There's geography trips, history trips. I know that in year 8 we take history. We take pupils to the Black Country Museum. Year 9 are off to some of year 9 are off to France on Thursday, and some of year 9 are off to Germany on Thursday, and that's for 4 to 5 days. The trips kind of get a bit better and a bit more exciting as you get older. So I mean, I don't know if we're going to run this anymore, but we did pre-lockdown. We actually ran a trip for the 6th form to New York and Washington for the history and politics A-level students. That, I have to say, was one of the best trips I've ever been on. So there are lots and lots of trips as they go through the school. And when will we be sent the details for parent pay? That will come through towards the end of the summer holiday. So yeah, so please don't worry about that. We tend to send it later on, so that people, because people are more in mind of doing it at that point. If we send it too early, then people sometimes lose the information as well, so we have to resend it. So we just send it all at the end of the summer holiday. So it will all be sorted, hopefully, for you to start in September. Ooh, that's an interesting question.
I don't think that would be. We don't really. The only piercings we have are just the ears, don't we? The earrings, one studded earring in each ear. Apart from that, really, any other piercings will be asked to be removed. Obviously, if it's hidden, I'm not too sure, but that would be down to the decision.
From a safety perspective, I think it. Best not. But no one's ever asked that question before, so thank you. And actually, whilst we're talking about, I mean, we could talk a little bit more about our uniform expectations. This is not like an opportunity for us to just tell you all the things that you shouldn't do, but it's worth bearing in mind that we do have rules around our uniform. We don't, like Mr. Hayward just said about piercings, it's just one set of studs in the ears. mainly for safety. I have to be honest with you, like people wearing big hoop earrings, like it gets quite busy in the corridors in between lessons, and it can be quite dangerous. Girls always ask me when I go and visit them in primary schools about wearing their hair down and makeup. Yes, girls are allowed to wear their hair down, apart from in PE and science, and again that's for safety reasons. You don't really want to be doing an experiment. You don't really want to be doing an experiment in science with your hair and a Bunsen burner. That wouldn't be very sensible. Makeup, again, I've had this conversation many times over the years about makeup and how much makeup, and essentially they're coming to school to get an education. It's not really that important having a full face of makeup, and secondly, I just it's the why get up an hour earlier than you need to put a face of makeup on just to come to school. But obviously some people do, but you know, everything is in moderation. So everything that's appropriate, you know, that isn't, you know, is deemed suitable for school.
Yeah. Also, just on that note as well, in terms of like shoes and trainers, we sometimes have people that wear trainers, and they will be asked to remove the trainers and borrow some school shoes and get some school shoes, plain black shoes, no logos on the shoes on the sides or anything, plain black school shoes, because if they are in trainers, then they will be asked to borrow the school ones, and we'll be in touch to kind of get them replaced as well. Just being mindful of that. And if there is a medical condition underlining that, then obviously that will run through use, I believe, next year with medical evidence to highlight the particular reason why they shouldn't be wearing the correct uniform.
Yeah, and it's just, you know, again, it links back to that communication thing. It's just about keeping us in the loop, because obviously if there is a medical reason, it's the same with things like, you know, if there's a medical reason why someone needs to be able to use the toilet whenever they can, etc. There's lots and lots of things, and we will be as accommodating as we can. I mean, our aim really. Sorry, go on.
No. I was just gonna say that kind of led nicely onto kind of the talk about attendance and stuff, and kind of making sure that we communicate about students being ill. And like, we know there are going to be days where children are probably feeling like they're on death's door and they can't possibly come into school and do anything. However, sometimes they might just say, I've got a bit of a headache, I've got a bit of a sniffle. And we always really recommend that to get the kids into school, get your child into school. They might feel a little bit low, but if they go in, most of the time, by the end of the day, they're fine and they sit the whole day. If at any point in the day we are concerned they're not going to make it through and they are really ill, then obviously we'll be in touch and you can come and collect them, because attendance really is very important, because, you know, the more days that they miss over time, it's going to really affect not only their GCSEs, but just the social side of school as well, the relationships that they have with staff and students. It's just really important that if there are any attendance issues, that we kind of communicate with each other and kind of put things in place to support your child to get them into school, because at the end of the day, that's what's most important, making sure they're happy and safe, and we can kind of support them where we can.
And it's also, I mean, just in terms of attendance, what's really interesting, and like it's not until you actually sit and do the maths around it, but if you have consistently got an attendance of 90% over a year, if you do that for 5 years, it works out that will be half a year's schooling that you would lose over 5 years if your attendance is 90%, which in 1 year, 90% doesn't sound that bad. It's you know, probably a couple of weeks off, 3 or 4 weeks over a year, which is high. But when you add that up and you change that into the whole school career, it's really significant. And I know it sounds really obvious, but if you're not in school, you're not learning. So we, you know, in terms of achievement and attainment, we need you to be in school. But I'm really conscious that I'm now down to 8% battery. That's not even telling me how much battery I've got left. Oh, no, 9% battery, excuse me. So we have about 10 more minutes left on this. So like I said, if you've got any questions, please just pop them in the chat. It's been really nice, all the questions that have been asked. I'm aware that last night when we did our little our demo last night, which I wasn't sure if anybody was going to watch, it got something like 1,000 watches afterwards. So I'm not expecting 1,000 people to watch this at all, but it's been nice. We've consistently had about 40 people online during this, so that's been really nice. I really hope you've enjoyed and found this useful.
Just quickly, I mean, I'm kind of thinking of filling time zone, just going over things. If you were at the parents' evening, or your child has been in an induction day, it's just nice to note that there are kind of 3 rules, really, kind of 3 things that we follow at school, that we ask the students to follow, and that's just to be ready, to be respectful, and be responsible. So that can be a range of things. There is on our website, there are a list of policies that you can go through and read with our behaviour system, our attendance, etc. But really, it's just this idea of getting to lessons on time, having the right equipment, completing homework on time, just being there, ready to learn, being ready to listen, and kind of showing that willingness there. Respectful, being polite, saying thank you, opening doors for each other, being respectful to each other and the staff, listening, not talking over the staff member while they're kind of doing the lesson, just being kind to each other, and this idea of really being respectful to the community, and just really being responsible. At Polesworth, we really strive to kind of have the students reflect on their own behaviours and their own choices, and kind of allow them to take accountability for that, but also to demonstrate that you can improve and we can develop, and we all make mistakes. There will be I always say there's going to be good days and bad days, but ultimately it's about being responsible for their actions, but also for each other and themselves, making sure that they put litter in the bin, making sure that they get to lessons, get into school on time, make sure they're just being responsible. So the 3 things really that we cover: ready, responsible, and respectful. And then we will be embedding them into their daily routines from September.
Absolutely. And we also, it's part of our behaviour curriculum as well. So lots of things that we will teach them. I am conscious my my battery is now flashing to tell me that it's time for me to go. I think we'll end here, if that's all right with everybody. Just say a massive thank you to everybody for joining us, and also a massive thank you to our admin, Miss Mark Jack, who you can't see, but she has organised this whole thing for us. She is a marvel at social media as well, and does all our marketing for the school. And so I just want to say a massive thank you there as well. And if you have any questions at all, just get in touch. And yes, we will end the live feed here.
Yeah, just want to say thank you all for joining, and I really look forward to kind of building that relationship with you from September, and ensuring that your children get through with the support and the education that they need.
Yes, and I will enjoy my summer. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes,
absolutely, we will.
Okay.
Re-energize for September.
Absolutely. I'm hoping that we're going to end now as well.
We just have to